Hey cats, it's your midsole man Eddbud here. The New Balance FuelCell Rebel V4 really wasn't one of my favourite shoes. Yeah, it was soft, it was cushioned, but it lacked any real propulsion, and that upper just didn't fit well for me. It was very large, very baggy. So because I liked that shoe so much, I've decided with my own cash to pick up the Rebel V5. I've got to be honest, I'm really glad I did. Here's my initial review. Thanks for tuning in, people. It's always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you've not done so already. Also, give this video a thumbs up, like, and drop us a comment for that YouTube algorithm. Dankeschön. So, the Rebel V5, purchased with my own cash, 140 Earth credits. I have to say that this is one of the most beautiful running shoes I've ever seen. It is quite outstanding in terms of its aesthetic beauty. Now, I've got 247 grams here in my UK 11 or US 11.5, 8.7 ounces, and that is to the gram exactly the same as I had in the Rebel V4. 36 millimeters of heel stack and about 30 up front, which is my age. That's a lie. So a 6mm drop, it certainly feels like that on foot as well. I really do like it. I measured the midsole durometer score here, Sure A, to be 20, which is exceptionally soft. That's a good 8 below the average across all the midsoles I've tested out on the channel ever. It's closer to super shoe softness than you get in most daily do-it-all offerings. Forefoot and heel width, very similar to the Rebel V4, slightly narrower, 12.1 centimeters in the forefoot and 9.5 in the heel. That's versus 12.5 and 10 in the Rebel V4. The Sure A durometer softness of the rubber is pretty much the same. I've got about 60 here, and that is on the softer side, so I do expect a bit of earlier degradation. I think that's all the stats. Let's get into it. The upper first. Big improvement for me, less material, it's more tuned in terms of the fit. I slipped my foot into it and I thought, yeah, these fit like a glove. Superb lockdown, less height in the toe box, a sublime fit around the heel and the Achilles here. I could almost hear the Achilles going, ah. It's great without being too constrictive or too baggy. Laces hold things together well. There's a slight bit of flex to them, but I'll let them off this time. So it's not a massive departure really from the V4, only the sizing's just way better. Just more proportioned in terms of those upper materials. For daily use, I think there's reasonable amounts of padding here. After some very warm runs, I did notice that it does soak up a little bit of moisture. I tend to store my shoes in a room that does have a dehumidifier, so it wasn't a major issue, but perhaps if you're running in very wet weather, that could start to be an issue. I would suggest going true to size in the New Balance Rebel V5. I have at times had to go up a half size in New Balance shoes, but I don't feel that that is the case this time round. Look at it, it's so beautiful. So very versatile option here and spot on true to size. Laces, perfect in length if you want to do a standard bow or you want to use a runner's knot, and the tongue length is perfect. Didn't need all that much tension to cinch the upper around the top of the foot. There's even a gusseted tongue here which keeps that tongue right dead center. There's some thin plastic New Balance overlays on both the lateral and medial sides to provide a little bit of structure to that quite flexible upper material. The mesh is somewhat see-through. It's not the lightest ever and it does feel a little bit synthetic, but I haven't had too many bunching issues or anything like that. I think the Evo SL's got a little less padding back here in the heel. Does feel a little bit more structured here if you need that in your running shoe. I have to say though, one of the best lookers around to date. I may even have to buy another pair. I love the colours, love the design. Top draw effort from New Balance on that. I'll give this a 2.8 out of 3 for the upper so far. Midsole, midsole.
Midsole now.
Midsole, it's still very wide. You've got a really good landing platform there, clearly being aimed as a Nova Blast or Evo SL competitor. It's also very much aimed at being a jack of all trades type model now, with that better connection with your foot onto that midsole base. I'm perhaps feeling, despite the softness, a slightly more dense nature to this foam. It doesn't feel quite so sort of plasticky and rubbery. I've really enjoyed running in this one at pace as well, round about sort of half marathon effort or doing some 100 or 200 meter reps too. It feels really nice. There's a good level of bounce there, but Also response. The balance is just right. I think you can run pretty much any session in these. I think it would even also double as a long run shoe. I think that was one good thing about the midsole in the V4. It was just the upper, it was letting the whole thing down. This time they've nailed it. Now, I rarely watch too many other shoe reviews. I remember when the V4 came out, there were some people saying it was the best shoe since sliced bread. Well, until the next one came out, obviously, but I do feel that this is a big improvement, and you know how much I hated the last one. I sold that on very quickly. At least now it feels more propulsive, it feels more exciting and fun to run in. The upper fit just allows me to get a better lockdown onto the midsole, of which it is soft, but I don't feel that it's unstable in any way. You've got just the right amount here. You know, only 36mm in my size. That's a little bit more conservative, I suppose, of an approach from New Balance. Doesn't feel like quicksand underfoot despite that very low short A-durometer score. Is it better than the Evo SL? I think they're slightly different shoes. I think out the box, this one's certainly a little bit more fun. I found the Evo SL needed a load of break-in miles to get the best out of it. Perhaps a slightly closer match to something like the Nova Blast, but you've got way more stack in the Nova Blast. I think the softness is apparent here against the Evo SL. That does soften up over time. The Rebel's just great out of the box, I think. Kind of like a cut-down version of the SC Trainer 3, which just felt a little bit overblown. I think this is way more usable without that carbon plate with less instability. The fuel cell foam just seems, for me at least, to lend itself for shoes that have a stack that's lower than 40mm. So it felt nice and stable for me on corners too. Good on some 100 or 200 meter reps. And on some mile reps too. Versatile midsole, this one. I think you're going to like it. I'll give it a 2.8 out of 3 after my initial runs. Outsole wise, there's a decent amount of rubber here and the depth is quite good. Some nice flex in the forefoot. There is some exposed midsole here, and as you can see, it's taken on this strange speckled appearance, but I don't seem to have any degradation at all on the outsole. There's some varied ridges and patterns all the way across. There's only a few small areas where dirt and debris can get caught up. I think this will probably wear off, you know, this dirt and grime, but the rubber feels nice. I have to say, on cornering it did feel very assured. No wet weather in the UK at the moment unless I get the hose pipe out. Do you want to see that? If you do, let me know. So good grip here, but I am a little bit worried about the softness of the rubber. Is it going to last? I just don't have enough experience in New Balance models to give you some sort of outlandish claim as to how long it's going to last. I ain't going to do that. It's very malleable, and I think if you perhaps run on some harsher terrain, then it could wear down a bit quicker. It's given a good account of itself so far though on the outsole. 2.8 out of 3. Value now. So 140 Earth credits this set me back. It's a bit more expensive than the Evo SL, around the same price as that famed Nova Blast 5 that everyone loves. Both of which though feature a bit more heel stack, so if you're after something that's almost max cushioned, then you might not want this shoe. An interesting middle ground, I think, between the two. Not as stacked as such, but it's a bit more stable. Bit more heel width as well than the Evo SL. It will no doubt facilitate some easier paced running than those other shoes. I feel this one's going to get a high score on that Botham scale, you know, the all-rounder. It just feels really great across a whole range of paces for me. Easy sort of recovery levels, even sort of faster stuff up to 10 or 5k. Fast and delicate shoes, you know, they have their place, right? But I think you'll get a load of miles out of this one, and they'll be fun as well. Impressive is the quality too. Glue marks, poorly aligned midsole elements are absent here, and the looks are good. It's like a hefty dollop of ice cream, sweet and beautiful to the tongue and the senses. Smells good too. At this price, I think it's a bit more enticing than some of those more expensive New Balance models like the SC Trainer 3. Far more enjoyable than that too. I'll delve into some more deep comparisons with this in future videos up against the Evo SL and the Nova Blast 5. At this weight, price and quality, a 2.8 I think is appropriate. Just limited perhaps by the lack of experience I have with the rubber and foams on display. We just don't know how long they're going to last. If I've totaled the scores up correctly, that gives us an 11.2 out of 12 after my initial runs for the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel V5. Are you going to be picking up the Rebel V5? I think you should. I think you'll miss out if you don't get these. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. A very quick musical interlude for you. Got different clothes on, and there's a long story behind that. Today comes from Link Wray. If you get one of his best ofs, you'll find this track. It's called Ace of Spades. Fantastic tremolo, overdriven guitar here. It's just oozing atmosphere and fantastic groove as well. Always love Link Wray's guitar playing. It's very raw. There's no messing about. He just gets the guitar, plugs in, and he used to play with some fantastic overdriven, distorted sounds. In fact, the reason I own a Gibson SG is because of Link Wray. Just a very inspiring player, and you can get some really great Link Wray style sounds out of that guitar. Go and check out Ace of Spades. I think you'll like it. You can imagine Eddbud driving around Yeovil listening to it in his Micra. Thanks for tuning in, people. It's always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well to help that YouTube algorithm. My name's Eddbud, and I'll be seeing you